Hi everyone, this is the Encourager. I have a study and I'm not sure how many parts it's going to be. I think the main title is Finding Israel. About a month or so ago I did a video titled Wake Up Israel, and my intent was to do a part 2. Now, I've done the study, I just haven't gotten time to get it onto YouTube. So here I am. I'm calling it Finding Israel, and part 2. And I'm just going to drop it in my playlist there. So we're in the book of Genesis, and we're going to read briefly about Esau and Jacob. Of course, I've gone through the entire book, and I'm not going to be reading that to you, but I encourage you to start Genesis chapter 1, because I do believe that the Bible is to be read as a whole in order for you to understand. And I also know not everyone is going to understand this. Not everyone that picks up the Bible understands it. Not everyone understands it. That is truth. In the book of Genesis, I'm actually going to jump to chapter 25, just to speed things up a bit, but I encourage you, start at Genesis chapter 1. So chapter 25, I'm going to jump down to verse, let's start at verse 20. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padan Aram, the sister to Laban the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, "If it be so, why am I thus?" And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the older shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bore him. Okay, so we are on a journey here in discovering, first of all, finding Israel, discovering whom Esau and Jacob are. Remember, we just read verse 23. After Rebekah had asked the Lord what was going on in her body, and he said, there are 2 nations in your womb. There are 2 kinds of people, and they shall be separated from thy bowels. The one group of people shall be stronger than the other, and the older one shall serve the younger one. So Rebekah understood what the Lord had said to her. So now I'm not going to read all of the chapters because of time. I do encourage you to go ahead and read through, and the revealer, Lord Jesus Christ of Nazareth, he is the revealer. He will enlighten you for you to know. And again, not everyone. That's all I'm saying. Not everyone is going to understand. Not everyone is this going to be revealed to. But if you have a heart and a mind that is willing to understand, and you understand whom the revealer is, you will know. So, of course, Rebekah, the Lord told Rebekah what's going on. And as you go through the chapter 25 and all the other chapters, you will see what happened regarding the blessing. Of course, you see that Esau is the oldest. He's the first that came out. And Jacob followed. But you'll see how the tables turn, and you'll see the plight of these men, and you'll see the nations as they are being built. Now, it's in Genesis. It's in chapter 27. We're still in the book of Genesis, that Jacob gets the blessing, because as you will understand that when the fathers for these children, not particular Esau and Jacob here, but back in those days, blessings were usually pronounced upon the children, and it usually goes to the firstborn. But of course, you see and you know that Jacob is the secondborn. But bearing in mind, Rebekah knew what the Lord said. She understood. And in chapter 27, you'll see here the tables turn, and you'll see that Jacob gets the blessing. Esau is angry. Thereby, Esau now hates Jacob. And Esau has purposed in his heart to kill Jacob. Now, bear in mind, these are brothers. Okay? And you kind of keep going down into chapter 28, where you'll see where Esau shall have dominion to rule over Jacob. I believe this is in verse 40. And then you'll see here in, I believe, yeah, that was verse 40. You'll see in chapter 28, verse 14, where Jacob multiplies and has become a multitude of people. I'm going to stop there for now because I do want these teachings to be short and give you the opportunity to go through the books and the chapters in order to understand. We are finding Israel. And Israel that I'm speaking of, I am speaking of the people Israel. I am not speaking of the state. And Israel, as in the Israelites, are a key point in the Bible. Israel is key to the mystery of God. Israel is key. Started in Genesis all the way through to the book of Revelation. You will see Israel is key, and many are confusing the political state Israel with the people Israel. So here we are going to find Israel. So come along with me on this journey as we study. And right now we're stopping at Genesis chapter 28. I trust you will pick up the Bible and start from Genesis chapter 1. And I'll jump back on with, I'm going to call it part 3. Okay? This is the encourager.